Hi there, I'm Wendy. Thanks for tuning in. I wanted to go live tonight to introduce myself and then also tell you why I teach this program. So, I started meditating in 2005. I had read Kevin Griffin's book, One Breath at a Time. I was at a pretty low point in my life, and so I read his book, and it was awesome. And he was teaching a workshop on Bowen Island, so I went to his workshop, and it was just so good. We meditated all day, and at one point he said, if you want a meditation practice, you have to meditate. And I had been trying to meditate for like years on and off, and I just kind of couldn't stick to it. But when he said that, like, if you want a meditation practice, you have to meditate, I was like, yeah, I do want a meditation practice. So ever since then, I've been meditating daily. So it's been about 13 years now. And meditation has really changed my life. Like, I love it. It's my jam. I kind of fell in love with meditation. And then I was teaching yoga. So I was teaching yoga for several years and still meditating every day. Like, lots of things were happening. I was getting like really good results. And so I wanted to start teaching meditation. So I started to seek out teachers, and I met my teacher Padma. She was teaching a meditation teacher training in Vancouver. And so I went to that, and then she started introducing the yogic teachings to me. And I had been studying yoga philosophy quite a bit prior to that, but I found it really confusing. I just kind of couldn't grasp anything. But the way she taught it, she made it so accessible and so relevant. So she introduced the ego from a yogic perspective. And I found it really fascinating. And I was kind of in a place where I had made a lot of progress, but I was still fear-based. I was still angry. I was still getting irritable all the time. And I was still struggling. And so when she started to talk about the ego, I was kind of like, whoa, like I need to know more about this. And so I started to really observe my own behavior and kind of realized I was acting from my ego almost all the time. I was always acting from this place of fear and doom and gloom and just stress and anxiety. And so I wanted to move away from that because I had it with that. That was no longer working for me. And I wanted to move towards like acting from this place of, authentic me. And so the more I started learning about the ego, the more I started to realize and learn. I just kind of would look for any kind of information about the ego. And I started to learn that when you go into your ego, it's completely involuntary. So you don't have a choice. You're not like, oh, I'm going to go into my ego now because I'm afraid. Or no, I'm going to act from a place of truth now because I'm feeling good. It's not like that. It's totally instinctual. If you get terrified or there's fear or something's triggering you, you'll automatically go into your ego, which gets your armor up. And so I was kind of like, if it's instinctual and you don't have a choice, then how can you like shift it? So I started to really study the ego with Padma and ask her lots of questions. And then she started to explain how the ego functions from a yogic perspective. And as I was really observing my own behavior, I started to really notice when I was getting stuck in my ego. And the more I was observing myself, the less I was staying there. I would still go there, but I wasn't staying there for as long. And I was started to become really aware of it. And it was just like, whoa, that's not me. That's my ego. And prior to that, I was always kind of feeling like a bad person because I wasn't behaving really well, or, when you get irritable or you snap at someone or you just kind of behave in a way that's not really you. So I brought that to Padma, and I was kind of like, I did this and I don't feel good about it. And she would say like, that's your ego, Wendy. That's you and your ego. You are terrified. That's why you're acting like that. And that is not you. You are pure. You are free. You are perfect. And my first thought was like, no, I'm not. I was not in a great place. But she said it in a way that I kind of had to believe it. And then I started to discover that everyone has this pure, free perfectness to them. That's essentially who you are. So the more you let go of the ego, the closer you get to that. And the closer you get to that, life becomes so much more enjoyable. So I've developed this program. It's a 5-week program. And what I've done is I've taken all the information that I've learned. This is my most popular program. I've taught it, I think, probably 10 times now. Every time I teach it, I do it and I take a look at my own ego, and it's sneaky. And even after 13 years, I'm still finding areas that I'm like, ugh, yeah, I had some ego around that. But it's cool. The more I learn, the more interesting it gets. And like I said, I've been studying it for many years now, and it's still fascinating to me. So I've designed this program in a 5-week program. What we're going to do is we're going to do, each week I'm going to do a Dharma talk, probably about 15 minutes. I'll post the videos on Wednesday nights. Talk about one of the functions of the ego. Then I'll post a 15-minute meditation. What I do like to do with all of my programs is offer several different meditation techniques. So what I'm hoping is that you find one of the techniques that you're like, yeah, this is awesome. I love this. I can do this. So, but you do kind of have to try them all. So we're going to try 5 different techniques. And then what I'm hoping is that you're going to find one that's going to inspire you to start a daily practice. So I would love to have you in this program. If you have any questions, please post them below. I'm happy to help out and ask any questions. And if you're not sure if this program is for you, if you're struggling and feeling lost, this program is for you. If you're stuck in a rut and you keep making the same mistakes over and over again and reliving the same patterns, this is probably an awesome program for you. If you're interested in yoga philosophy, this is probably a great program for you. If you're a yoga teacher, this is probably an awesome program for you. And if you're already meditating and you kind of want a different perspective, or you want to learn some different techniques or maybe shift things, this would also be an awesome program for you. So thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, if there's any questions or anything comes up, I'm happy to help, and I'm here for you. So thanks again. Take care.